everybody, Hugo here. As you can tell, I'm sailing and SVB has been sending me some products to get this boat ready to sail. So I took the opportunity to make some review of these products and make some little tutorial videos. Hope you can find these helpful for you. Take care and fair winds.
Topic on a race boat is electronics. They are both vital and super heavy. And while I haven't done, the job, the big legwork on this boat about electronics, SVB has been saving us with two components we're missing. One was this BNG Triton 2. Another one is the pushrodd for the Autopilot. We have two pushrods on this boat and we have two basically in line for everything. I'm just gonna show you a little bit all the electronics on this boat. It's at the same time much more simple than on a cruising boat, but also has to be lighter in different ways, so it's at the same time a bit harder. So here you have all the power with two batteries. They are normal lead batteries, lead acid. Here you have the controller for the charger. Here you have the switches for the batteries. Here you have all the different bus data coming back to the masthead, to the speed, to the GPS, etc. Here you have the two brains for the autopilots. We have obviously the computer. Here we have same thing, all the data coming back, as well as the computer. So for Adrena, these are just switches to have less cables running around. And by less cables running around, it's a bit of a, sounds like a bit of a joke. Yeah, more cables, interface, so in between the brains and the displays. Here we'll have just the basic for the engine, and we'll have more switches coming up here. And then everywhere, see, that's for satellite going at the back. That's all for the different displays, etc. That's all going forward to the inertial central. So the inertial input feels the motions of the boat. And then here we have GPS. This is the compass. Here you have regulators for the solar panels outside. Speed meter. This is the camera for the keel to make sure we have no seaweeds on it. And then here, going back here, we have all the electronics from here going into the mast. So for the wind sensors, the VHF, all that goes at the mast. So yeah, it's a lot of electronic. I could not have done it so nice. It's professionals who are doing this, and it's been 2 weeks now they're working full-time on the electronics, so it's a big topic. All these cables running everywhere are a lot of weight, so on a race boat like this is definitely a topic to be addressed, and we're trying to go as light as possible with really thin cable. This is aircraft grade cables, and yeah, lots of cables everywhere. So thanks to SVB, we have been able to get the BNG Triton 2 and the Type 2S pushrodd in time. Everything else than these two components will be targeted to racing. We're working with Mad in Tech. Tech. For this boat and lots of race boats today are working with them because they're fast response, they do lots of development. It's a really good system for race boats. I'm not sure it's worth the money having it on a cruising boat, but nonetheless, that's what we have on the boat. But whether you have, Tech, Raymarine, BNG on your boat, it works pretty much the same. You have an organization which is pretty much the same, and I'll try to explain to you how it works roughly, so you can make yourself an idea of what you need. And I'll show you quickly the installation on this boat, but it won't be really relevant. For example, we have 2 lines of everything, so if one shuts off, we can just switch to the other one in one switch, and we can continue racing while we find a problem on the first line. So it all starts from the brain. So it's a brain, or some call it calculator. It's where the processors are. It's where the computer works happens. This brain and calculator will need inputs of speed, wind speed, water speed, GPS, all that. So you'll have your different inputs, so GPS, speed, wind speed, etc. You can have many things going back into this. You can have radar, you can have blah blah blah. I'll just put the 3 most important ones here that are feeding back into your brain or calculator. Yeah, so all this information goes in there for this to process. To the brain and calculator, you'll also have your battery. Yeah, so power will need to run to your calculator, and sometimes to these inputs. So I'm gonna talk about the link in between the calculator, the brain, and the rest. All these links, you have power links and you have data links, but some data requires also power. So normally the standard for these links in lots of cruising applications is NMEA. So this is a standard. Lots of boats use it. It's these cables that can be used for anything. And this NMEA system also needs to be hooked. So at the same time as it provides data to all these devices, it will also get electricity to them. So a display, for example, will be getting electricity from this, and you need to dimension the number of inputs you have depending on the power you give to this backbone. I think it's Raymarine calls it the backbone. So we have our brain calculator, we have all these speed inputs, and then the brain and calculator will be giving back information onto some outputs, which are displays. So displays is gonna be the Triton 2. It's gonna be, other displays for different brands, but basically it's just you're gonna see what these inputs are taking through the brain calculator and onto the displays. So you'll see the information that you're getting. And what's super important on this boat is gonna be the autopilot. So Autopilot is the pushrodd. It's really the engine that's gonna push back and forth your tiller. The brain calculator is gonna be sending the information. Okay, we need to turn to starboard or to port, and the autopilot is just gonna activate this. In between these two, in general, you'll have a power unit, because the brain calculator is gonna send little signals of how much you need to turn left and right. So you can have like small cables going there, and then this kind of actuator, I don't have the exact name, but this is going to get proper power from the batteries here, with big cables, and it's going to distribute these big cables with the information from the brain, but with more juice to power up the autopilot. That's roughly how this works. I'll show you inside at the back there. You also have like rudder sensors. No, actually I forgot them here. And the rudder sensor is gonna feel how the tiller moves, and that definitely needs to feed back into the brain. Because if the brain says to the autopilot push this much, and the rudder sensor is only feeling a little bit of this, there is a discrepancy there, and the system will stop, and plenty of things like this. I don't want to get too much into the detail, but the bottom part of this is, if you have a cruising boat and you want to install, you need at least one bit of all this information. On my first boat on Honolulu, I had a battery, I had a brain calculator. The only input I had back from this was a compass, and I had a tiller autopilot, and it was working perfectly. I had one display, of course, to be able to operate the autopilot. But the more you add to this, the more complex your installation will be, the more comfortable it will be, the more problem it might have it as well. But yeah, that's roughly the idea.
Well, as you can tell by how sweaty I am in the Caribbean. Last time you've seen the boat, it was a mess because we're in the middle of the first fitting of the boat. Now it is a post-transat mess. I'm working on getting the boat ready in between two races. We've just sailed 5,000 miles, which was a really good shakedown sail. So yeah, last time I explained you a little bit about how this communicates with the brain that is in there with the rest of the electronics, and the pushrodd, the Raymarine Type 2, which is in my opinion the best pushrodd. I've shown you a little bit the installation, but because there are so many options of how you can organize which type of brain you can have, which kind of calculator, pushrodd, etc. I'm going to focus on the gears I have and the pushrodd Type 2 that I have back there. I've been working now for 5,000 nautical miles, not one single issue, it's been working perfectly. But after every transat, I like to open the pushrodd and just have a quick look at it in case it needs to be serviced. It should not, but I'll just have a quick look and I'll show you how this is done, because it's relatively easy to do, and it's a great thing to know how to do, to know how to service your pushrodd. There is 2 spare parts that you should have with you with this pushrodd, and you're pretty much out of any trouble. To dismount it, you need a 19mm wrench or an adjustable wrench, because I try to save weight on the tools I'm taking when racing. I just have an adjustable wrench, but yeah, otherwise 19mm wrench, and that's about it. Let's go. So here is the pushrodd that has been working for the whole transat. There is another one on the other side. That's our spare one. It has not been turned on for the whole transat, so I'll just take off this one. When setting it up, it's good to have a quick link. That's the cable that goes from the brain to the pushrodd, and it's good to have a quick link connection like this that is waterproof. But so if you need to service it or to take it apart or whatever reason, you just like twist and done. You don't have to undo dominoes or whatever. So yeah, disconnect this. Now I'm gonna cut these 2 zip ties. Okay, so that disconnected, and now it is quite easy. I have just this one
So this one's done. See, super easy. Boom. Close. And now just that. Now it's just this pin here that I removed, and push the pin from the other, wait from the other side. Come on. Hey, what up? See? It's just hard because I'm so cramped in here. It's super simple. Just that pin going in there through that hole in the pushrodd and done. This I'll leave here, and I'll take the pushrodd with me. Let's go. That's it. Pushrodd is dismounted, and now I just need to service it. That's why I like these pushrodds. They're super strong, and you don't have the hassle of, you know, the big hydraulic units where you need to service the pushrod, service the hydraulic pump, the filters, blah blah blah. Boom, there. Just this, and I'll show you now how to service it. It's super easy. Let's go. So in order to open the pushrodd, you're gonna need a small Allen key to undo these two screws here. 1 and 2. You just pull that cover open, slide it to the end, leave it aside for later. Once you've opened this, that's your engine, it's your pushrodd. Here, what you want is access in there. So for this, you'll need bigger Allen. Remove these two. Watch out, there is a little undo washer thingy. These two are open, and now what I'm gonna need to remove is these two bronze, whatever you call it. This is basically to hold the cover in place. So for this, you'll need an 8mm wrench. One. Okay, that's the second one. So now you should be able to work out. There we go. The cover that opens like this. Careful not to push too much on these two cables. Et voila. So you see the inside. We see that there is a little bit of black dust there in the cover. I'm not too worried because these are brand new, and it's normal that, you know, when they're working out, they you know, at the beginning they rust a little. They don't rust, but they blend a little. So yeah, pretty much happy there with these. Just what I'm gonna do is, so first clean off that dust and just give you a bit more detailed see this little belt, it was drives the power from the motor to the push rod. That's one part that tends to, I mean, if one part is gonna break, it's more likely to be this one. So I would recommend carrying one spare belt like this. Doesn't cost much, and it's super easy to replace. Even at sea, you've seen it's like 4-6 screws, and you get access to these. So yeah, this you'll eventually have to replace. So I would carry one, and so this part here, see, it's moving, and this one here is kind of an electromagnet. So this is the second part I would carry. This bit here is connected, see, with this cable. Can you see? Yeah, this cable goes to that. This is a magnet. So when you press engage onto the autopilot, this cable is gonna trigger this, and this bit is gonna stick and start turning, and now your motor is connected to the belt. This is in order to not have the resistance of the motor, of the friction, when the autopilot is not engaged and you're steering by hand. So yeah, that's the thing. You get this push rod. Again, these are the push rods from you know, the Vendée Globe. They're super good. The IMOCA boats, they have these push rods, so they're absolute beasts. They made for, like, you know, 60-foot boats or any doesn't matter how heavy is your boat. That's super good push rod. Just carry one little belt like this and one of these. Don't really know what they're called. It's pretty easy to find the reference in the Raymarine manual. So carry one of these, one belt, and you are good to go. So yeah, now I'm just gonna clean up all these, mount it back, the screws there, mounting them back with some Loctite, and go. See, easy fix. Alright, everything is nice and clean. Just before I mount this back, I want to give you just one more little troubleshooting tip. Remember, I mentioned this is actuated by this cable here. A super easy way to troubleshoot problems with this type of push rod is, you know, if you check that you have electricity coming into your cable, that's super easy. You need a multimeter. You turn on the autopilot. If there is plus or minus 12 that comes to that other side of this plug, it means that the electricity reaches the autopilot. And if when you connect the push rod to the rest of the system, if when you engage the autopilot, you press auto, if you hear a click, and then you hear the engine you know, turning, you hear the click, but the push rod doesn't move back and forth, this means that the belt is broken. If when you press on your autopilot and you don't hear the click, it means that this little thing here doesn't work. So the engine is working, the belt is fine, but this doesn't clamp with this and does not engage. So yeah, that's quite kind of an easy way of troubleshooting this and know which bit you need to replace. I'll put the links in the description below for the part if I find them, and the reference. And yeah, pretty much it. I'm gonna close all these back with Loctite and put it back in place, and that's one more check. Post trains are done, and I hope this helps. Okay, giving it some torque just at the end, but not going too crazy either, because that's aluminium. Et voilà, that's your pushrodd serviced. So you'll see that's a 10-man's job. Do this every year or so, or every, after a transit or a really long passage. Have a belt and a little actuator thingy in your spare parts and pretty much unstoppable. So yeah, hope this was helpful. I'll go back into the sweat box back there to mount it back. You don't need to see that probably. Enjoy. Let me know in the comments if there is other boat parts that you like to see reviewed, serviced, things that are interesting for you in your daily sailor life. Thank you so much for watching. See you in another tip and tech video.